Hey guys, Double Wide 6, and today we're going to be talking about professional OBD2 diagnostic tools. Do you need one? Probably not. Do I have one? Yes. And are they helpful? Sure. If you don't mind working on your car a little bit, putting in a little time, using the internet to help you out, you can fix a lot of things that you don't have to take your car to the mechanic for. So the scanner that we're going to be looking at is right here. It's called the Launch 9081, and basically it's an onboard scanner, OBD2, and you can plug it into your vehicle, and if you have a check engine light, you can check those codes and figure out what's causing that light to come on. Alright guys, so I'm moving out to my truck, and underneath the dashboard, hopefully you can see this, that the scanner and camera might get a little bit wobbly here because I can't use my tripod. But here we go, we're in here, and hopefully you can see the screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn our key, if I can find my keys, to the number 2 position. So we set it on number 2. And you can see the screen on this is pretty nice, because my other one, it's just like gray, but this actually has a color screen, which is pretty cool. So we're going to go in here to diagnose, and it's going to go through and it's going to do some scanning. So we'll see what it says. And while it's scanning, we'll talk a little bit about this OBD2. It stands for Onboard Diagnostics 2, and I think like every car after 1996 was required by the government to have a standardized computer software in it that would notify the technician basically with trouble codes so that they could figure out what's wrong with the cars, because like years ago cars were all mechanical, and they had spark plugs, and they had carburetors, and they had points and condensers and things like that, and they were all mechanical manual systems. And in the 90s and 80s, I guess, cars really started moving over to like transistors and microprocessors, and everything became computerized. And the reason has a lot to do with actually the government. There's like fuel standards and emission standards, and every time the government pushes something like this, they got to use all these different sensors and electronic components and devices so that they can meet the criteria of the government. So this will plug into any car after 1996, okay? And you can go through, you plug it in, and it tells you some stuff, about the car. I don't really even know what most of this stuff is. It's very advanced, this tool. But I'm going to go down here, I'm going to hit OK, and we're going to go to read codes and hit OK. And this is generally what I do with my meters. I read codes, I can erase codes. This thing's pretty advanced. Okay, here we go. The vehicle has no fault codes, so we just hit OK, so that's a good sign. If there is a fault code, obviously you'll be able to click on it, and this will tell you exactly what is causing the fault code. So I've just been looking at the scanner and just trying to figure out what all exactly it does, and probably the nicest feature of this thing is it actually provides live data. So on here you can see like your engine RPM, the vehicle speed, your oxygen sensor output voltage. So all of these things, you would have to be a pretty advanced technician to know what's going on. And I imagine, if you're a Ford technician, you just compare these to the values that are on a chart in some book, and if something's out of whack. But for the average Joe like me, I'm really not going to be using these advanced features. I don't know if any of you guys would. But anyhow, they're on this meter, and you know, you just plug it in, you can drive around and see if you have any problems. And I think with an advanced meter like this for a novice, between this and using the internet, you could probably figure some things out if you want to spend some time doing it. But for a guy like me, my main purpose of using a meter like this would be to read codes, figure out why check engine lights are on, and be able to erase codes and things like that. So anyhow, I'm double wide 6. As I said, this thing's called the CReader 9081, and really looks like a nice unit. And I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in looking at all the specs on it. Some of the things that it does that I found to be pretty interesting are that tire pressure sensors, you can turn off that light. If a light comes on for low or for oil changes, you can turn that off.